Yeah, it's like 30 degrees out here. What's the weather out there, Mike?
Oh, I'm battling through this 65-degree weather, man.
Oh, wow.
I'll pull up my phone. 61 right now. 61.
Sweet.
Tomorrow, mid-60s, mid-70s coming up. Next Friday, gonna be 75.
Oh, my
That's why
Lord.
I moved to Phoenix, man. I can play golf all year round.
I'm thinking about it, man. I know everybody moved out there. Kiyosaki.
Yeah, dude. I know. I've got to find out where he lives, man. I'm gonna connect with him at some point.
I would try to.
Yeah, I mean, we're out here. Why not, right?
Things changing, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Gotta-
he's pushing Bitcoin, man. Have you seen Bitcoin? It was a crazy high today.
Really?
Oh God. If you put like $1,500 into Bitcoin like 12 months ago, you'd have like 35 grand.
You know what, dude? Huh?
No, they're making like 8 or 10% a month right now. But the problem is it's so unstable. I would never tell anybody to put their money there.
That's the thing. I cannot. Older I get, I'm like shiny object syndrome will take you out of here.
It'll kill you, man. Stick to real estate. Stick to what we know, buildings and assets, and that's right, dude. Stick to bricks and more things you can feel and touch. And oh heck yeah, dude.
I want to do it, Mike, but I see dudes and they're like, Chris, you're just a schmuck. But I'm like, okay. I was reading something else, Mike. You know what's weird, man? Our friends and our ego will just. The first mastermind I was in, he was like, I want everybody to check their egos at the door, right? Our egos, man, it would just take us out of here thinking about what we can do. We can always do better. I got to match that guy to do this. I mean, it would just, it'll mind screw you.
It totally will, man. It totally will. I love what I love what Ed Milet said. It says we need to live our lives blissfully dissatisfied. And what that means is man, be happy where you are, but continue to get better, but never compare. Never compare, dude. And that ego is a trip up, man. We see it all over our world today where it hurts leaders, it hurts people, hurts business owners, man. It'll kill us.
Yeah. And we all have it though. I mean, we just kind of I think we should have a knob to kind of crank it back, recognize it, maybe.
We have to, or else it's gonna keep us from real opportunity. Because when you have your ego, you're not listening, you're not learning, you're not putting yourself in the position to get better because you're trying to validate yourself, right?
I got to check my ego at the door, and I'm asking my rounduppers to do that tonight. No egos here this evening. Strictly helping people and not trying to compare. You do not have to do 1 million deals a year to have a great free lifestyle, y'all. Please remember that.
Absolutely. And I think it's so easy to look at people. I heard somebody say one time, ego happens, or at least discouragement happens maybe sometimes when we judge somebody else's end by our middle, or our beginning by somebody else's middle. Somebody judges, man, that Chris Haskins guy, he's got thousands of followers. It's like, well, that Chris Haskins guy been working at it for a decade, man.
That's right.
He's been grinding, helping people for a lot of years. Or somebody else, it's like, we have to, like you say, we have to check that ego and say, listen, man, don't judge yourself by somebody else. Just stay the course. It's time to grind, man. They say that every millionaire has 6 or 7 streams of income. That's and only 1 in 9 businesses actually survive. And they say, I just posted something on Facebook. That means you got to start 63 businesses in order to get 7 solid streams of income. That's the idea, is that, man, most of the businesses, I mean, Elon Musk, for example, he's the wealthiest person in the world now, just past Jeff Bezos. Elon Musk said my first business failed. My second business failed. My third business got a little bit better and it still failed. My fourth business got a little bit better than that and failed. My fifth business was PayPal.
Nice.
And so it's like, dude, you got to keep at it and keep going and keep going. And you and I were talking about it today, man. It's about, taking our money and investing it and making sure that we're living below our means so we can invest the rest and see that lifestyle grow.
That's right. Below your means. Roundup. Come on in here, Roundup. We got 40 people here. Greetings. I am Chris Haskins. I will be your pilot tonight, hanging out with my co-pilot, Mike Fritz. What up, homie?
What up, my man? How you doing?
Oh, man, beautiful day. I'm just so thankful that I have my health. Roundup. My mission is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. During that, I hang out with real winners. I get to have the juice and the ideas drip onto me and magnetize me and bring them to you. So tonight, it's a late night, and I asked Mike to come on here as a special guest, a special time, because tomorrow he's doing a seller financing event, and we want to just kind of share with you what it's all about. It wasn't even open to the public. I asked him today. I literally called him up. He's in Arizona. I'm like, Mike, what would you think of boom, 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 boom? He said, let me think about it. And he got back to me. Okay, well, why not? We'll open it up and see if some of your Roundup homies would want to join us today. Mike, thanks for your time, brother.
It's so good to be here, man. It's so good to be here. It's so good. I see, oh man, this Christmas and stuff, you put out some awesome content this year, man. You interviewed some great people. So I'm honored to just be named even close to some of those people.
That's right. I appreciate that, Mike. Yep. So seller financing, what in the world is this crazy stuff you done cooked up?
So, years ago, I was I started, to get into real estate, and it was kind of slow because I didn't have any money. As we all, a lot of us start off with no money.
I do.
Hey, Aaron, what's up, my man? And start off with no money. And so I started asking the question, is there a way to buy real estate if you don't have any capital? Is there a way to buy real estate if you don't have any capital? Mm-hmm. Then I heard about this thing called a land contract or a seller financing, or I started hearing all these different terms. I had no idea they meant kind of the same thing. Yeah. And it's the idea where the seller is the bank and you just make payments for the place to the seller and you don't have to go get a loan from a bank. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. And then I started hearing about some of these deals where you can find where it's zero down seller financing. So you don't have to bring any money to the deal. And I'm like, well, what about those? So I bought a couple properties, seller financing, low or no money down. And I started falling in love with seller financing because it really opened up the world. The reason real estate is so powerful, in my opinion, Chris and I talked about this today. All of us came from different backgrounds. All of us grew up with different educations, different access to different educations. Seller financing is available to whoever's willing to go ask sellers if they'll sell. That's who it's available to. Anybody who's willing to find properties that are for sale, ask the owners if they'll do seller financing. It's available to anybody. And that's the power of real estate, right? It has no agenda. It's unbiasedless. If you apply the principles, you reap the benefits. And seller financing is a powerful way for you to get deals if you're starting with low capital and that low money, maybe you've heard the term subject to, especially listening to Chris's channel. Chris talks a lot about subject to and does a lot of that where you can take over a mortgage. It's not the same thing, but it's a similar concept in the same. You don't have to go to the bank and get a mortgage because maybe, let's say some of you, you lost your job or your credit got tanked, you missed some bills and something happened, things happen in life. I get that. So what do you do about it? Well, seller financing, you don't have to qualify for a loan, man. You can buy properties without that credit, right? And so if you have low credit, bad credit, or low credit, this is a great option. If you have low capital, it's a great option. Even if you have all the capital in the world, it's a great option. I still ask every seller if they're willing to do seller financing. And you're like, well, what actually is it? How does it work? There's so many creative ways. The field of real estate belongs to creativity. Believe me, man, every deal is you can be creative. You can have the seller carry some and you pay some or all and you pay none, or it's just, the world is literally the world is a playground, but seller financing places you in the ability to get deals, right?
That's so crazy. I remember the first time I did one, Mike, we drafted up the documents and I'm going to close it. I'm looking around, looking for a bank rep. I'm looking at the HUD, like
that's right. Like what?
No origination, no appraisal,
closing costs, no. Yeah, I'm not paying $7,000 to a bank right now. You save a lot of money,
I can't believe. I'm like, what? They're on the HUD. I guess what do they call them now? So on the seller disclosure, the
seller disclosures. Yeah, right.
There's a whole section. I didn't even know those are fees for the lender.
Yeah, the lenders are gonna get anywhere of 0.5% to 1% of the sale of the property. So if you think it's $100,000, They're going to take anywhere from, and they usually all have a flat fee of $3,000-$4,000. You're going to pay on 100,000. You're going to pay $4 or $5 grand in closing costs, and there's no way to make that back. You lose that forever, right? And that's the way seller financing is powerful, because it places you in the driver's seat. I remember this year, one seller financing deal can change your life. And, and it's just, I mean, I got a friend of mine called me, and his dad was kind of getting in his 60s, kind of ready to retire. He had some properties, and he was going to sell them to his son. His son didn't want them. So he calls up me, knows I'm an investor. His dad, he says, hey, my dad wants to sell his properties. They don't really make much money, but he doesn't want to sell them outright because he wants to do seller financing. And I'm like, okay, well, let me meet with him. I meet with him. It's 23 properties. I bought a portfolio of 23 properties, $1 million in property. Now hear me when I say this, because I ain't making this up. $1 million in property. I'm driving around with him looking at the properties. He's like, are you positioned to make a down payment? And I'm like, well, man, I said, when you have this many properties, I really want to make sure that I have enough to repair the properties. Mm-hmm. I would rather put the money into the properties to make sure that, and he says, all right. And we moved. I bought those properties with not $1 out of my pocket.
Unbelievable.
0 down. He handed me a contract this year for $1 million in property. Now, let me tell you something. It ain't because I knew it. It ain't because I have all this knowledge. It's not because I was on Chris Haskins' YouTube channel. It wasn't because I got all these. It was nothing. I was a nobody to him. He didn't know me, but he trusted me because he came a referral through his son. When people start to know you're looking for properties, you start to come up in their mind. All of a sudden, he's like, hey, my dad's selling some property. And then I get these properties, and now they're under management today. That portfolio makes us anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 a month. Now think about this. Somebody handed me $3,000 to $5,000 a month.
Sweet.
Now, it didn't start there. I'll be perfectly honest. I had to work to get it there, because remember, he was saying it wasn't making much money. So I had to get some of the tenants' rents ups, and I had to work with it for a year or so. But my goodness, I didn't put any money into the deal. This is why I want people to see seller financing. And this isn't about, oh, he's so smart, or he's been doing this for years. It's just about being able to know the right information, the right questions to ask, the right people to look for. You know, I mean, you've seen it, Chris. I mean, how seller financing changed? I mean, some of the deals and the way you're doing it when sellers carry the note. How have you seen that?
Just once again, man, I remember my first one. I walked in, I'm like, I just couldn't believe there was no bank. I mean, it was, no inspectors. I'm telling you, Mike, I've even had a bank send an inspector to close it before to make sure that the right people,
Yeah.
So you don't know what's going to happen at closing, but it's like they feel like you're doing something illegal, because it's literally you and the seller, nobody else. That's it.
It's exactly.
That's it.
And the thing I like about it is it's not limited to one kind of property. It can be done in multifamily. It can be done in single family. It can be done in storage units. It can be done in whatever retail, whatever kind of investing you like to do. You can do seller financing. Tomorrow, I'm even going to teach you how to do a seller financing flip, where the seller will carry it, and you won't have to put any money except the construction costs. I'm going to teach you how to do that tomorrow. And so the point is, it doesn't matter what kind of real estate you're getting into. It doesn't matter what market you're in. I mean, there are some markets that are better than others, but seller financing happens in all markets, which is the beautiful thing about it.
So let me go ahead and let you guys know Mike is going to open this thing up right now. In the video description, there's a link. He's not even offering it. This came with another a lot more expensive package that Mike offered for my Roundup homies as an add-on. But Mike agreed for me. I asked him to open up today for just a few dollars price of a tank of gas, guys. If y'all want to hang out with Mike all day, January 9th, and all the information is in the video description below. Hit on that link, and Mike's going to continue to tell us what's on there. Mike, explain to people, because I know it took me some time. You got houses. I mean, you got, let's say, houses or real estate.
Yeah.
Then you got money, They don't necessarily go together, and they both have their own value add, especially with seller financing, where they can both be positioned differently, Mike. Some people think they go together, which they have nothing to
Yeah,
do with each other.
they don't have to. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people assume that, well, I don't have the money to buy that piece of real estate. Well, what if you don't need money to buy real estate? What if you can get into real estate with low money? Or see, the reason you're here and what you invest in first before ever houses, and this is why you invest in this first before you ever invest in houses. You invest in your mind first, because when you learn this strategy, you actually learn, you can actually have, you have to come up with a lot less money the more you know.
That's true.
You know, because, you know what I mean? The more you learn, the less money you have to have, because you can either raise it from private lenders, you can do seller financing like this and have them carry it. Or let's say they do seller financing and the owner is the bank, but they want 20% down. You don't have 20%. Then you go find a private lender for the 20%. You still ain't got any money in the deal. And so the point is, sellers, but you have to know how to negotiate terms, find the sellers. Where do they exist? Like, what kinds of sellers are we looking for? What do you need to know before you get on the phone with one? Well, how do you find these deals? Like, where are they sitting? Are they just like, is there a website you go to? What is all this existing, right? How do you navigate this world of seller financing? But let me tell you, when you navigate this world of seller financing, especially, let me tell you something. I'm going to give you one of the most valuable pieces of content I tell people. I don't like it, but moving forward, there will probably be a lot of foreclosures in the American housing market. I don't want it to happen, but it's probably going to happen if people can't make their mortgage. Now, I am hearing that more people made their mortgage payment last month, so maybe some people are going back to jobs, and that will happen less, and that's a good thing. But if foreclosures come to the market and it overfloods the market, loads of seller financing deals are going to be available. And that, knowing this stuff will position you, no matter if the crash happens or not, positions you to get some great deals. And that's what I want. I mean, I don't want you, like Chris said, houses and money don't necessarily go together. I mean, they sometimes they do. They don't always go together. You know what I mean?
It's a crazy dichotomy. You got to kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at every one of them.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember I made a lot of mistakes. Oh my goodness, man, did I make a lot of mistakes? I didn't realize that, you know, people say, oh, nobody's going to do 0% down, so I didn't ask for it. And then I realized, oh, people might do 0% down. You know, I was listening to a Tim Ferriss podcast one time, and he made a quote. He said, it's amazing what your life will be if you will just ask for it.
Just ask. This life is reserved for the askers.
It's the askers. I mean, it's every time when you go to a hotel, ask for a free upgrade. Just amazing what happens to your life when you're willing to ask. It's the same with salespeople. Imagine if you just ask for the sale. They always tell salespeople, it's the same as seller financing. Ask for the seller financing. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow and what you say to sellers and that kind of stuff. And so, it is going to be January 9th. We're going to be on all day tomorrow, 10 Mountain Time. I'm going to walk through it step by step, what I did and what I do and what my students do to make sure they can knock down some seller financing deals. And at the end of the day, you could start crushing it.
So tell us, let me type that in, 12 p.m. EST. I know it's so weird. As my world expands, I got to make sure I always put Eastern Standard.
Yes. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm when I moved out to Phoenix, that thing has tripped me up more than once. People book a meeting with me, and I miss it. And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I got 2 hours." They're like, "No, it's supposed to be right now." I'm like, "Dang it!"
That just means it just means you getting bigger. I promise you, man. Because before, everything in my world was Eastern Standard. I didn't think about it.
That's right.
Now it's like
just my yeah.
You never know where they at, Mike.
You got followers that don't even live in your country, brother. You probably got people in 12 hours ahead of you. It's already tomorrow there.
Yep. So
exactly.
Mike, 12 o'clock tomorrow. Make sure you go to the video description. Go to the link in the video description. Mike's going to continue to tell her what he's going to cover, but seller financing, learn it. Substitution. I don't know if you're going to go substitution collateral, but walking out of that and getting a seller to hold that note where you don't have to come up with it. I love my famous line is, I could go out and borrow the money, but I would much rather just borrow from you since you already know and love the property. I'd rather pay you the interest as paying the bank. I mean, how many times have I said that?
Yeah, exactly. And tomorrow, there's actually some major benefits and motivations for sellers to do this. But one of the things I'll tell you, just as a little precursor for tomorrow, most sellers don't understand it. A lot of sellers don't get seller financing. And so you have to be able to educate them on what it is and how it works and why it's advantageous for them to do it, why they should do it. And you have to know that process. And tomorrow I'll talk to you. How do you tell a seller what it is? How do you make sure they understand it. What's the major benefits for a seller? Because you and I might think as real estate investors, yeah, but why would I take, $500 a month rather than, 80 grand today? Why would I do that? Well, there's a lot of reasons to do that.
A lot of different people that want different things too. I know for me, I gotta stop thinking that everybody sees the world like I do. You
Oh
know?
my goodness. You say that part again, Chris. My word. I think that sometimes I remember, I'm like, man, my customers don't think like me. My buyers don't think like me, or my sellers don't think like me. People don't think like me. And, it's like, stop making decisions for people. So I started making decisions for people, right? I wouldn't ask them or, because I'm like, well, they're not going to do this because I wouldn't do seller. Well, you ain't them.
You ain't them.
And we've done this event. Actually, it's kind of by accident that we're doing this event because last time I did this event, Zoom had a glitch and the recording didn't take. You think sometimes we're professionals, ladies and gentlemen, we mess up all the time. So I can't tell if it was on my end or Zoom, but it didn't take. So we're reshooting the entire event. So we're giving you this opportunity because we're reshooting this to invite in some more peeps.
Oh yeah, that's right. The thing broke.
Yeah, it broke. And I called Chris. I'm like, dude, the thing didn't take. He's like, oh, and you got to be kidding me. I'm like, no. He's like, well, you know what? Let's do it again. I'm like, that's what we'll do. We'll do it again. And so doing it again. And yeah, it's like, what else can you do?
Hey, Mike, Aaron wants to know, does this work in all markets or just specific markets?
Great question, Aaron. Yeah. So it works in all markets. It's not as matter of the market as the kind of the sophistication of the buyer, because it not only works in all markets. If you're talking like, Atlanta versus New York City versus Texas, works everywhere. People do it everywhere, literally. But it works in not only all markets, but all forms of real estate. Any kind of real estate you're doing. I mean, wholesaling, you don't really need it because the wholesaling is one of those things you can maybe assign that contract before you even buy. However, even in wholesaling, there's a place for seller hold or seller financing, depending on your process. And so, and I'll talk about those tomorrow. Absolutely. Right, so yeah, it will work in all markets. Yep. Good question, Aaron.
Cool. 1 second. Let me pull this thing up. I'm trying to do a million things at once here. Roundup, get your questions in from Mike, seller financing secrets tomorrow. Adrian Jeffrey wants to know about how do you handle insurance on these type of deals, Mike?
Great question. So sometimes the sellers will want to carry the insurance to make sure it stays insured. Because a lot of times, let's say the seller sells the property to you and you don't put insurance on it, and it burns to the ground, they're out their money, right? And so they might want to have the insurance on it. And I know you would never do that. You would never do that. I hope you would never do that. And please never do that. But a lot of times the seller will want to put insurance on the property or will want to have a proof of your insurance to make sure there is insurance on the property. And they should. I would do that. If I was selling a property, seller financing, I'd make sure I would carry the insurance.
I would. Yep.
Yeah. And so good question, Adrian. Good question.
Sylvia, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year, Orlando.
That's a good market. Man. Orlando's a kick butt market right now, man.
Jumping down there, yep.
A great market. Absolutely.
Look like somebody, the broke genius, just got a new contract for the first time in Gary, Indiana. Good for you.
Ooh, nice job. The broke genius. I'm on contract now. Nice job. I would say the rich genius. Keep telling your mind where you're going.
That is true. TTOO, good afternoon. Is this free? No. If you go to the video description, it costs less than $100. It costs as much as a couple tanks of gas. TTOO. Few bucks to get you in the door tomorrow. I asked Mike, it was last minute. I know it's last minute, but if you go to the link in the video description, you will be able to see all the information for Mike's training and all the stuff he's going to be covering. Mike, who is this for? Do you have to be a master negotiator on this?
Yeah, that's a good question. And this is what I thought. This is probably what held me back is because I'm like, yeah, but what if I say the wrong thing? And you know what I realized if I say the wrong thing? Okay. And then you move to the next deal, and then you move to the next deal. Because here's the thing, there's no way. So no, the answer is not only no, but I assure you, Chris has got some excellent information on negotiation. He's one of the best negotiators out there. And you could read all his stuff, but the truth of the matter is best reading it, definitely get his stuff, read it, but also get out there and work it, right? And that's where you start to hone those skills. And it's the same with seller financing. You don't have to be a master negotiator. You don't even have to ever done this before. But by the end, you'll have the content you need to go away and start talking to sellers about this process.
My thing is, I just always felt like it was some magical words that I just needed to deploy.
Yeah, exactly. It's and a lot of people are like, give me the script. What's the script? And you know what I've realized about scripts, and I'm not a huge script guy. And here's why I say that. I want you to come across as you. I want you to say the right thing, but I want you to come across as you. If you're from the South and you say y'all, then I want you to say y'all. I want it to come off as you. You know what I mean? I mean, for me, I sound like a Northern Midwestern white dude. That's who I am. So I want to come across as Mike. I want you to come across as you. I don't want to give you like, so you're like, no. That's not what people buy. They want to trust you. They buy your authenticity. Be exactly who you are. You know what I mean? You know? And so yeah, and while I'll tell you some sentences to throw in there, I really want you to just be you. You know what I mean? I really want you. And so no, you don't have to be a master negotiator, but there is some content you need to know. Why would they do this? Who are the sellers we're looking for? And then we'll go over that for sure. Because that's one of the things you need to know for sure.
J Equity Group, Mike, will the class be recorded for playback tomorrow? Is an happy anniversary, J Equity Group.
Oh man, your anniversary. If you come to this class and miss your anniversary, you're gonna need that investment. No, don't you dare miss your anniversary, man.
Kick them out of the class.
No, that's way more important. The class will be recorded. But you'll only have access to the recording for a little while after it. You can purchase the course after it's recorded.
Gotcha. So if they get this today, they'll be in for the same price. I mean, the $97, you will get that. And shoot, if you get it, make sure, well, if you miss it, how long will they have, Mike, to replay it?
So you'll have, so once it goes live on the, once it goes live in the membership portal, you'll have 14 days with the recording. And 14 days with the recording. And so you can at least go through that maybe even a second time.
Gotcha. So, but you'll give them the opportunity to extend that.
If they want to extend that and get lifetime access. Cool. This is 2021 is probably gonna be our last year where we sell lifetime access. We'll probably sell it year after year from now on, but we're still doing some lifetime access offers. So, you come in for $97, you get the live experience, you get the course for a couple of weeks, and then if you want, to extend that, it's I think it's an extra $200 and you get the thing for life. It's not much. But
being able to ask you, my thing is the people that I have on speed dial, Mike, we talked today for quite a while. I'm like, man, it's just priceless.
Oh yeah. The relationships I've built in real estate with you and some of our close mutual friends, it changed my life. There are people I call when I need to run something by somebody, and oh man, it just, that matters a lot to me,
I'm telling you on Roundup, the networking, you'll have the people that will be in the room. I promise you, me and Mike talked for like 30 minutes today about another mutual friend who is just a beast. The man, he spends more than some families make in a month.
Yeah. He's spending more on Facebook ads a day than some people make a month. But he helps a lot of people.
Yeah,
he's actually a surprise speaker tomorrow. I'm gonna bring him on. He's gonna talk about one of his ninja strategies of finding off-market deals.
Sweet.
So he's gonna come in and just drop. And he is literally not only is he a brilliant real estate investor, he is a brilliant man. That dude is just smart. Holy smokes! He makes me. He is just a smart dude. He just has so much information packed in that head. But he's gonna come and speak tomorrow and talk about, in my opinion, the best strategy right now of finding off-market deals.
Yeah, that's cool. Roundup. So Mike's Seller Financing Secrets one-day virtual training event is Saturday, January 9th. And tonight we're just telling you what it's going to be covering. Literally opening it up only for my Roundup homies only. So everybody there is going to be a Roundup member. And Mike, this is an add-on. It's not even being offered to the public.
That's exactly right. Yep, that's exactly right. It's not being offered to the public. I didn't run Facebook ads to this. I didn't By the way, my camera's up here and you are all down here, so I'm trying to make sure I'm staring at you. Chris is down here and you're up here. No, I'm not even emailing my own list about this, literally. Because I'm trying to keep it small enough so that you guys can put questions in the chat. I can have some time to answer questions and still get through the content. I mean, it's gonna be a 6-hour day tomorrow. It's gonna be a heavy content day. Yeah. So come with a couple granola bars and some water, man, because we're gonna hit it pretty hard and heavy. Make sure you get this content. So it will be recorded. You will have a couple weeks access to make sure you can pop through the content. But yeah, so let's definitely make sure you're there.
Roundup, that link, get registered up, is in the video description. Get registered up. Dave Morris, what are the tax benefits for the seller, Mike?
Yeah. So we'll even go over this more in depth tomorrow. But so the tax benefits of the seller are, if the seller sells it outright, they're going to pay a big chunk of capital gains tax, or they have to do what they call a 1031 exchange into another property. If they do seller financing, they can stretch that out, and the interest you pay them for the loan will actually cover their taxes. And I'll share how that works tomorrow, but it's one of the major strategies. So we want to make sure that we understand this. And I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg, what I'll share tomorrow, but you got to understand the tax benefits of what it looks like.
And do you have a way of explaining it to them? Because my thing is, whenever I want something, right? This is why my wife doesn't let me negotiate with her. Whenever I want something, I stack it in the other person's favor, Mike. Is that kind of where you're?
Yeah. Well, you want them to see how much money, if they sell, they're going to have to respend or lose. And then you're going to show them next to how much you're going to make them by doing the seller financing. So you're going to show them that and say, again, I'd rather you keep the money in your pocket, and I'd rather give the interest money to you. So we're going to, again, there's that stack that Chris is talking about. But it's understanding how do you talk to a seller about something they may not know that much about yet. Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, by the end of tomorrow, you're going to know more about seller financing than most people do. And so when you go into a conversation, you have to make sure that you're explaining it so they understand, so they know the benefits as well, you know?
Yep. I don't know. 804 Sabrina, can you do a single family deal with no equity?
Seller financing, probably.
Seller financing.
No, you're good, man. Yeah. Can you do a seller financing deal with no equity? And if you mean equity with no money down, the answer is yes. If you mean, I don't know what you mean by no equity, but if you mean no money,
100, house worth 100, there's no equity.
Okay. So you mean so if you're asking if they owe 100 house, if they owe 100, so if they have a mortgage on it, you have to understand, you have to see if their bank will allow them to sell it, seller financing, or do a subject to loan or deal. So if they already have a mortgage on it, there's an extra step we'll have to go through in order to get seller financed on that deal.
Seller financing
and do deals. Yeah.
Absolutely. I guess the answer is yes. And yes, you can do mirror wrap. No, you can do what Mike was saying there, subject to. I mean, so many ways. It was crazy in real estate. So many ways to do it. And it's almost the same, like he was saying, land contract, owner finance, lease option. They're all, they kind of come under the same umbrella, just different instruments that we set it up.
Yep, definitely. Yep, you got it.
Roundup, get registered up. Mike, TTOO, how did you get your first multifamily deal, Mike?
My first multifamily deal, I was 19 years old. My wife and I were about to get married, and I was a builder. I started a construction business when I was 19. Actually, I started roofing houses. And started, I was a subcontractor, and then I got in with this company that was building a ton of homes. I started framing. So I started building the homes, and I was a builder. And when we just were about to get married, and so I was an entrepreneur at age 19, had zero credit. So I had no way to get a loan. So I asked my parents, actually, when I was 19 years old, I said, hey, will you guys help me get a construction loan? And they did. And I went and I built on nights and weekends. I went and I built my first duplex. And so when my wife and I got married at 20, we moved into half of it and rented out the other half. We lived in a brand new duplex for $100 a month. And when we were 23, we built that duplex for $129,000. Of course, it was cheap because I did a lot of the work, nights and weekends, just grinding, man. I didn't have a life that year. And nights and weekends, just grinding. And then we sold that duplex 2 years later for $184,000, right? And so that was our first multifamily deal. And so kind of got me excited about real estate. I love it. I love it.
Cool. Derrick, can you recommend some books on seller financing, Mike?
You know what's interesting? This is a great question. There's not a lot of awesome books that I would recommend on seller financing that I think really do it justice. And it's not because I have a course. I promise it's not because I have a course. It just isn't. It's just not something that's well laid out. Maybe Chris and I need to write a book together on seller financing, because I'm telling you, it's there's not a lot that I would say. There's a lot of good books on real estate, tons, lots of good books on rental property, and lots of good books on all kinds of wholesaling, all kinds of real estate. Seller financing, there's some, but I don't know if maybe it's something people don't want to explain in a book or what. But it's not a lot of great resource. Chris, do you know one?
You know what's weird? That's why I think my mission, both of us, like teaching subject to seller financing, negotiating. When I was coming up through the ranks, it wasn't there then.
Exactly.
So it's almost like, damn, dude. I guess I was thinking about that today. I didn't want to be a general, dude. I never joined this thing to be a general. I just wanted to do a few houses here and live my life. It's like by default, I'm like, nothing of this stuff exists, so I have to be the general in the war room planning this stuff for the community. I'm like, I don't know why, man.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. I totally agree. I think that y'all, I was actually, now that you just asked that, I just up on another tab, I'm like, heck, I've looked for seller financing. I'm even in Amazon right now, and I don't see too many good books that I would say, no, go here on.
Go get it.
On owner financing. I mean, I see one owner financing book that's 5 years old. Well, heck, dude, there's a lot of things change in 5 years, you know? And so it's just, especially in this market. And so I would actually say, if you're a reader, then I would, Rich Dad Poor Dad has some good examples. The Cash Flow Quadrant has some good examples of how Robert Kiyosaki seller finance some deals. So that would be some good examples. But I would say your YouTube content, because you can hyper focus on seller financing, you'd probably be better off to look at some of Chris's videos, my videos on owner finance. I've got a 2-part series on my YouTube channel on owner financing, that are a teaser for where you could get a little bit of content. So I would do that versus a book right now, because I just don't know a book that I trust enough to say go do this.
You know, that was an old school guy. I can't remember his name. It was like Vitamus Ford or Dotimus Ford. You heard of this guy?
I think that's the guy that I just was talking about that wrote that book in 17, right? That was E.B. Farmer. No.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's just not seller financing is just not. I mean, I'm not saying there's not one where, yeah, but even then, I mean, it's like, Anthony Beachold wrote a book but even that, I mean, yeah. It's real new, and I just don't trust it enough yet, and so I mean, it's just
got to come to the class.
Yeah,
Marlon, I've got a wrap mortgage. Oh, let me rewind and do this. Roundup. The link to Mike's class is in the video description. Go ahead and get registered up. It's going to cost you almost a couple tanks of gas to hang out with Mike for a couple hours tomorrow. Matter of fact, 6 hours. Get your questions answered. One day I'm going to convince Mike to give us some of his terms in his note and deed of trust. I always kind of include that stuff, Mike. You got any special language that you include in your, well, I know you can't do it tomorrow, but eventually can you maybe give my Roundup some of that magic deed of trust note stuff? I know you got some stuff in there.
Yeah, but that is, you mean with your promissory note into a trust, you mean?
No, with your notes, when you promissory note, you write, but that's like I can move the note. I have different cash flow stuff. If I move it to another property, just little things.
Yeah, these little things that save us on all kinds of stuff. Yeah, no. So tomorrow, it won't be a lot of stuff about the deed and trust and note stuff, but what it will do is it'll position you with the seller to really, really, really get in on that seller financing deal. You throw too much at them, you start to get them in the weeds.
Oh no, yeah, you don't want to do that with them. This is on the back. I know. I'm asking. This is back office stuff.
Yeah. And that's just, so I work with my accountant a lot on that stuff, because that is not my cup of tea, man.
All right.
And
Cool.
you're better at that than I, man. You got that land trust stuff, and man, you know, people should be going through your land trust training. I should be going through your land trust training. There's no doubt about that.
Cool.
But no, it's good, man. It's good. How about you, man? Do you got some back office ninja tactics?
Oh yeah, every note. Borrower at lender's approval can move this note to another property as
Yep.
long as it's got boo boo boo. Just little stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Definitely.
I'm like, that shit. Being able to move notes around, you're talking about just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Marlon, I've got a wrap mortgage deal, but I want to put the deal on a trust. I want my LLC to be the beneficiary, but who's the trustee? The seller. No way, Marlon. You better find somebody you trust. Do not put that seller as trustee. I know Nate might do it like that. Nate, or some of my friends will put the house in a trust and have the seller as the trustee and then assign it over. I don't do it like that. Just do it. Anyway, you can do it like that, but we don't do it. I don't do that.
Agreed.
Marlon.
I agreed.
Oh, you could be the trustee. I wouldn't do that either, but man. Marlon, meaning if I do a wrap mortgage and they only give me 2 to 3 years for a payoff, could I refinance to exit out of that deal?
Maybe. The answer is maybe. Depends on where the equity's gone, number one, and number two, where the mortgage is at. You could refinance out of that deal, especially if it's a seller financing and you can get the mortgage. Then you can maybe refinance, put a traditional on it, pay off the lender or the seller, as long as there's terms in there that allow you to do that. You can refinance out of that deal so that you can free up that cash for sure.
Yeah, but Marlon, your credit may be 450, dog. We don't know where your credit is. Well, I don't want Mike to.
Yeah, that's true though, and that's one of the benefits of seller financing, right? You have credit that's been hit, and you got to, yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, you got that right.
But if you refinancing out of it, Marlon, I don't want to give you something, because here's the thing: a lot of people get into. I'm telling you, I'm sure Mike. I don't know. We do so much to get in these deals, Marlon. We will break our necks, and then next thing you know, like, damn, I don't even want to. Or you'd say, I'll refinance in a year, or I'll refinance in 2 years, or whatever. You'll promise all this stuff, and then you get in it, and you're like, I can't do that, man. You ever been there, Mike?
Oh yeah, dude. Well, yeah, because most of us buy a property with an exit strategy in mind. Like we kind of know where we're headed, at least where we want to head. But I would always say, refinancing much better than selling, because then you get to keep the property, you get to use that money, and you get to keep the cash flow. But in my opinion, some people they want to sell everything, sell it and buy again, sell it and buy again. Me, I want to refinance and hold it and let it pay me a lifetime. But yeah, dude, sometimes, you have all these intentions on this front end. And then because here's the thing, you got to remember, as you continue to do more deals, unless you build your team and build your business, it's like, man, refinance that. I don't got time to do that. I've got 4 deals here that need me to go either raise money or need me to go talk to sellers. And you got 4 deals you're trying to do. And so sometimes you can get, it can get pretty heavy. Yep.
Sylvia will be joining us tomorrow. Thank you, Sylvia. Welcome to the class. Congratulations.
Welcome.
Dave, what are the best seller finance leads to go after? FSBO or for rent by owner?
For rent by owner, yeah. Best. So it's a yes and. I would say both. There's not a better. It's a both, and for those 2 different demographics, those are 2 different people that have different motivations. And so you have to talk to them a little differently, but there's not a either or. They're both options that we could talk to about doing a seller financing deal. Yeah. Good. Yep.
TTOO, how did you do your first 15 plus unit?
Yeah. So first deal in that range, I had to build a team of a good lender. When you get into multifamily deals, most banks don't want to loan you more than your net worth. So if you're going to buy a 15 unit deal, and it's going to be $1 million or whatever, they're going to want to make sure you have $1 million net worth to get into that deal, or at least have somebody on the team that has that net worth to back up that money. So first
So
thing I
net
had
worth,
to do,
break that down. We'll stay there for a minute, Mike. Net
yeah,
worth for my rounduppers that don't quite understand that, because I didn't
yeah,
understand it years ago either.
yeah. So net worth is take everything you own. If you sold it, how much money would you have? That's your net worth. And when you take everything you own, that's money in the bank. That's equity in your house. It's if you sold your car. I mean, it's all the value you actually own is a net worth. When you Google how much is, I mean, Elon Musk just passed Jeff Bezos for the richest man in the world. His net worth is a couple $100 billion. I mean, he's a very, very wealthy man. That means he could liquidate his companies, liquidate everything he owns, and he would have a $200 billion paycheck. That's the net worth.
Gotcha.
And so if you've got equity, let's say you got 200,000 equity in your home, and you got, 100,000 in your IRA, and you've got a note that, or maybe a bond or something that your parents left you for 100 grand. Yeah, that's 400 or 500 grand. Okay. They use $500,000 net worth. That's what that is. It's not unrealized income. It's not what you could make. It's what you would have today. So the bank will look at that. They'll take everything you own, what it's worth. They'll take everything, what you owe on everything you own, like mortgages, what you owe, and what it's worth. And the differential is your net worth. So the bank, so the bank is going to want you to have $1 million net worth to do that deal. So I knew I had to build a lender. I had to find a broker, a real estate agent that would send me a deal like that. Then I had to find a property manager. Then I had to find I had to start raising the money to do that. So my first deal, I partnered with a real estate agent. We've gone over some of these deals on here before, Chris and I have. And the whole point was I found a deal, real estate agent shot me a deal, called up the lender, started raising money, and brought it to the finish line. But it wasn't, it's one of those things where it's not rocket science. It just takes a very specific effort of, you got to have those 4 partners. Those 4 partners are really powerful, of your lender, your manager, your real estate broker, and your private money people, if you're going to raise capital, unless you have the money to buy that kind of property.
I didn't know you had to have net worth. I'm thinking about for Roundup net worth. If you own a house that's worth 100,000 appraised, and you owe 50, your net worth is only 50. Your net worth, you don't be thinking your net worth is 100, because it ain't. All right. I used to think, well, I got $1 million real estate. I'm a millionaire.
That's so true. I used to think that too, dude. I used to think, man, I'm a millionaire. I got $1 million in real estate. Like, no,
you owe 900,000.
Yeah. So you bought it for $1 million. It's worth $1 million, meaning you have a net worth of 0. You have $1 million in debt. You don't have $1 million in net worth. You have 0. And so I thought for sure, I'm like, oh yeah. Nope. Wrong.
I'm here. I made it. You bought it for 100,000 and you owe 100,000, means your net worth is 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So don't be thinking that if you owe your car, here's the kicker. You bought your car for 20 and today is worth 8, but you still owe 15. You got to take 10,000. That's negative net worth. I'm telling you, Mike, a lot of people that I interview that come through my funnel, negative net worth, Mike. So those people, I guess for those people, they're going to have to find some type of a partner with that, correct? For a big unit like that, I don't know, unless they're doing seller financing.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Some banks will require it, some will not. But the ones that do, I just wanted to be ready in case some banks do. Yeah. And so the good news is, in the multifamily world, there's a lot of people that will partner with you as long as they know, like, and trust you. They'll partner with you, help you get that mortgage, and they'll take a percentage of the equity. There's actually people that specialize in that kind of thing. Yeah, and so they vet the deal and they make sure they're on the deed, so they're covered. That's how they protect themselves. Mm-hmm. But again, it's so that's a way you can do it if you don't have the net worth. Good question.
Mike's the man. Roundup. Go ahead, head over to the link. It is in the video description. Mike is having his Seller Financing Secrets virtual one-day event, January 9th. It's tomorrow. For 6 hours, you'll be able to hang out with Mike, ask questions. He's going to go over how to set it all up, how to negotiate, locating these people. And you said you could probably show them how to do this within the next 30 days, Mike?
Absolutely. I'll show you how to start. getting a hold of people right away so that you don't have to wait. This is the power I love of this strategy, because you don't have to wait. You can start doing this today. You can start doing this right now. And that's, it puts then it just comes down to, are you willing to take the action? Because if you're willing to take the action, sooner or later, the results are going to break free. And so that's why I love this strategy. Because, I hate the strategies that are out of my control. Go do this, and then I can't control if that actually happens. Well, the cool thing with seller finance, go buy a multifamily. Well, you can't control if the broker sends you one or what. But with seller financing, there's all kinds of people wanting to sell, and we can go start having conversations. So you can start this day one.
Sweet. Nice.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
All right, my real estate roundup homies. That's really all I have for you, Mike. Anything else you want to add before we get on to my question?
I really, Chris and I were talking today, and as I've been thinking about this all day today, because we have a very similar passion of raising people, just helping people understand finances. This is one of those things in real estate that can change the game for you, because you can start to acquire more net worth, and you can start to acquire more cash flow. Because let's say you wanted to replace your income in the next 2 to 3 years. Of, let's say you make whatever X amount per year, you want to replace that income. You can replace that income and this is a good path to do that. Because again, replacing your income is all about just cash flow, right? So this gives you another strategy, and I just want people to have it.
Nice. I appreciate that, Mike. All right, Roundup. That link is in the video description. Head on over there, and Mike will get started tomorrow, January 9th, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's 10 o'clock Mountain Time for everybody that's out there. And 6 hours with Mike. You're going to go over all this seller finance and stuff. So, matter of fact, I'm going to join you guys too tomorrow, Mike, coming in, if you don't mind.
I'd love it, man. I'd love it. Love it. I'd love to have you.
Oh, somebody wants to know, Denise, can I pay for the recording? How would they get the recording?
Yeah. So just, Denise, do me a favor and shoot me an email. You can email me at mike@poweruprealestate.com, and me or my team will hit you back and make sure when that recording is available. We'll get you on a reminder to shoot you an email, just let you know that recording's available. So shoot me an email at mike@poweruprealestate.com, mike@poweruprealestate.com, and I'll let you know whenever that pops up, and we'll get you in.
Makey is coming in for the Philippines.
Wow. Oh man, I remember my dad went on a mission trip to the Philippines years ago.
Sweet.
Cool stuff from the Philippines.
Sylvia wants to know, will she be able to ask questions during the
course. Yep, absolutely. I'll teach. There's like 5 or 6 sections that are taught, in the end section, there'll be some time for questions, and I'll go through the chat and answer questions. We're not doing a lot of live questions, but you put them in the chat and I answer them right there. Just because I want to make sure we get the content delivered.
All right.
Sure.
Cool.
Yep.
Marlon, can you convince the seller to carry the note for the full term?
Yeah,
sometimes. That's whatever term you talking about 30 years?
Sometimes. Yeah, if you're talking about 30 years, sometimes they might not want to do it for 30, but they might. I mean, yeah, or maybe they care, or maybe, and tomorrow I'll tell you how you can make payments like it's going to be carried for 30, and then you can refi at the end of their terms, and we'll switch that over. So I'll show you how to do that.
Amortize for 30 years.
Yeah.
That's my mentor used to say, that's a hornet wrapped inside of a marshmallow. It's sting real, but it's real soft when you approach them.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good statement. No, I hope to see you guys there. I love teaching this specific stuff because it's changed my life. I mean, I've gotten a lot of properties this way, and it's really changed the cash flow that comes in every month, and we just want to get it in the hands of people.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the matter of fact. I promise y'all, this was not available before today. A lot of things I'm able to get because I call people up and I just literally add. Well, let me ask you, Mike, what were you thinking? I mean, you're always like, I know this dude's going to ask me for something when I call.
No, every time our conversations are so good. I love to chat. But no, when you did it, I'm like, that's a really good point because, our mission, as you know, you always say your mission ministry is to raise financial literacy. Our mission is to help 10,000 people create financial freedom with multifamily real estate. Well, I need to get that content into people's hands. So I want to get it in as many hands as possible to see families change, to see trajectories change. It doesn't matter where you came from, what you know, what you don't know. I want to see the future be different for people if they want it different. And so that's why we're doing it. So I appreciate the opportunity, Chris, and hopefully a lot of you are going to join us tomorrow, and we'll have a great day.
Yep. It's Saturday, January 9th. So I don't know when you're seeing this. You might not see this until Saturday. So you got to get right on it. You got a few hours left to join. Mike is going to be in a Zoom, the chat room like this. You'll be able to get your questions.
Yep. Give me just in a Zoom. Once you snag your ticket, over at the link. Once you snag your ticket, you'll get a link, and just click on that link at 12 Eastern. Now, depending on where you're at in the country, make sure you adjust. I'm on Mountain Time, so it's 10 Mountain, 9 Pacific. It's 11 Central. Make sure you adjust for your own time zone, but click on that link and then come on in. And so that link might say, just because it was originated in Mountain Standard Time, just so you know, it's 12 Eastern. If it says 10, it's 10 Mountain Standard. Make sure you look at that so you don't come in a few hours early and think I'm late. So that's right. So, so just make sure you understand that. But yeah, just snag your ticket. You'll get a link. Come on in. You'll have the chat available. We'll have that thing popping, throughout the day. We'll get started right away.
Yeah, that's 12 Eastern Standard Time. 12 Eastern Standard Time. Mike, what's your YouTube channel? Dave wants to know.
Oh, thank you, Death's YouTube channel. Just go to Mike Fritz. Just search Mike Fritz on YouTube. You'll find me. We just launched our YouTube channel like just these last few months. So I think we got 20 or 30 videos on there, maybe 40 videos. And so it's just about it's just getting started. So yes, you can all meet me over there as well. So, and I got a podcast I launch on Wednesdays called Power Up Real Estate Podcast that I interview great people. Chris has been on there, and and I have good people on there. So I always love hanging out with you, my friend.
Yeah, I'm putting
thank you so much thanks for putting that in there, Chris. Appreciate that.
Yeah, sorry about that. So who asked that? Denise. That's Mike's email right there. Mike at Power Up Real Estate. Somebody I would just calculate. Who was that playing around?
My net worth, it turns out, is 27. Yeah. You know what? If that's how much money you have, you don't need this training. I'm going to just say, if you're worth $27 trillion, you don't need this training. Go spend time
another training.
Yeah.
King Edward, I'm just tuning in. Not sure if he spoke on this, but what is the best way to find? He went over that. He'll go. Yeah. I don't want to. It's already been on here for an hour.
Yeah, man. Time flies when you're having fun. Time flies when you're having fun, man. So I really hope to see you all there tomorrow. Hope to see you.
Yeah, looks like we got a couple already. Roundup. Mike is opening this especially for you. Okay. It sold out for Christmas. Was it Christmas, Mike? I think we sold whatever.
Yeah, we sold out for Christmas, and we sold out for what did we sell? Black Friday. Yeah, we usually sell out for these things pretty quick because we try to keep them affordable for people.
It's open. Yeah, it wasn't even offered. He already sold them out Black Friday. That was closed. So he's opening up this one because this was from a special he did for my Rounduppers back during Christmas. So
yep, you got it.
I'm thankful. I hope that you receive this from the meditation of our hearts that we're giving it out. So it's just a few dollars just to raise your education on real estate. All right, Roundup. Subscribe to the channel, like this content, share. Any other investors that are looking to get into the real estate business, seller financing is one of the secrets to being able to, I call it living on the fence. You got the conventional way, the realtor, lender, convert, loan process, all that. You got that side. Then you got the unconventional, unlimited. We buy houses. I don't worry about, I can't tell you, I don't even know what my credit score is. Unlimited, right? So you can buy.
That's exactly right, dude. Oh. It's so true. It's so true.
All right.
So I love it. And thank you all so much for tuning in. I know it's if you're Eastern Standard Time at 9:30, I know it's late. So thank you all. And so I love it.
All right. Roundup. I see you guys tomorrow at 12 o'clock.
Have a good one, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Signed up. The link is in the video description for Mike's virtual training event that will be happening tomorrow, January 9th. See you soon, guys. Peace.